Been a while. Whether you join me from the Brina Rice channel or you've already leaped into the Brina B Rice community, welcome. Today I'm sharing this new chapter of my life with you all, one that's filled with reflection and discovery and a deeper understanding of who I am and who I'm becoming. For those of you who originally have been following me and keeping up with me on the Brina Rice channel, you know that that's been a space primarily for commentary where I've shared my thoughts and engaged with the world around me. However, as life has unfolded, I've realized I needed to step back from that channel, which I have done over the past couple years. A lot happened towards the end where I was sort of dwindling on YouTube when my grandma got sick and passed away, and there was some other things that was going on that I was keeping offline for my own safety and privacy. And as I was just trying to come to terms with it and understand it, which was my diagnosis with dissociative identity disorder, it just became more difficult for me to keep up with that channel without being able to talk about certain things in a way that I was comfortable with. Not because I owe it to anyone, because I don't, and I know that, but it was more so like for me personally, I just didn't know how to like be myself really anymore. I was sort of reframing and relooking at things, and it was hard for me to feel like I was being authentic when I felt like I wasn't sure who I was anymore at that point. Like I was figuring out where I was in life and what I wanted to be doing still. And I just feel like I was a ping pong ball and I feel like I was just being pulled in all these different directions and I couldn't figure out which way I wanted to go. And doing that online was even more difficult at the time. So eventually it just led to me just being like, okay, I need to remove myself from this space pretty much. As much as there is a part of me that would like to continue with some commentary stuff, like there's still topics that I would like to give my opinion on. There's things that I would like to go back and look at and see if my opinions have changed at all, which mostly they haven't, but see if I might maybe change my tone or how I would reframe certain things about my beliefs and things like that, considering I do no longer identify as an atheist, primarily due to some of my experiences with DID. I don't have the energy to do that. I would like to be able to do that, but I don't have the energy in this body to be able to fit doing that while also doing everything else that I want to be doing right now, which primarily focuses on writing and sharing my story with you guys and doing the thing that I feel like I'm really meant to be doing at this point that really feels like a calling for me, which is me speaking to you through a lot of my writing. This is a decision that comes through a place of deep growth and transformation as I embrace this new aspect of myself and my identities and my beliefs. Which brings me to my book that was recently released on October 10th, 2024, titled In the Beginning, There Was Us. Editing Brina here. So a few minutes after I got done recording this video, there was a knock on my door and this came in. Look at it. Look at it. Look at it. I made this. I made this. It's so pretty. It's so pretty. It's so pretty. Get it. Get it. Get it. You want it. You want it. Sorry, I'm just in awe of it right now because I'm like holding it in my hands. There's something really special and beautiful about like holding something that you created in your hands. It is something almost godlike and it feels divine. And I made this, guys. Look at it. I did this. Anyways, yeah, it's available on Amazon, so you should go get it. Link in the description. Okay. Bye. Which if you haven't gotten it already, I really hope you do. Please, every purchase counts. And if you do purchase, please consider leaving a review or a rating and sharing it with your friends and family if you so choose. Anything helps. You know, I'm self-publishing, so marketing on my own is extremely difficult. It is not easy, but hopefully it will get easier as I continue putting more works out, which I'm already working on the next chapter of that series. I will be talking about that a little bit at the end of this video. It actually dives into a new writing genre, so I will not be writing in poetry prose for the next part of this series. So, my book, in the beginning, there was us. It's more than just a culmination of thoughts. It's a reflection of a journey that really began nearly 8 years ago when I started deconstructing my fundamental Christian beliefs, eventually identifying as an atheist and a skeptic. Yet, as I really began to explore my diagnosis of dissociative identity disorder, my understanding of consciousness and existence did begin to shift profoundly. This was a diagnosis that I had gotten shortly before my grandma passed away. It was around the time she got sick. I don't think that it was a coincidence that this is when my alters really started making an appearance to me. Obviously, they were always there. This is just when I was being made aware of it or being allowed to sort of remember and really reflecting on what I was experiencing. Initially, back in like 2022, I did approach my DID with like a traditionally scientific mindset, seeking empirical explanations for my experiences. However, as I delved deeper, engaging with my alters through meditation and through journaling, I personally encountered a phenomena that, for me, defied my conventional understanding of consciousness. These experiences challenged my previous beliefs and invited me to explore the intersection of science and spirituality further and much deeper than I ever had before. Because I was spiritual before I identified as an atheist and skeptic. It kind of brought those things out of me, but under a completely different mindset. This wasn't just me being spiritual with no guidance or path. It almost was like I was being led on this journey by my higher selves in a way, or my alters, who I feel like knew a lot more than I did. So of course it innately feels spiritual when you have these alters, these identities, and these memory blocks in your brain where I don't have access to it, yet everything's working in a way that feels very purposeful, or that is very purposeful and almost like mastermindful. So it feels spiritual and out of this world to experience it. Even in writing my book, it feels like I didn't write it because it's a culmination of being written by my alters and literally having to read what I just wrote and realize what I just wrote, and then have all these pieces falling into place of things that I did and thought I was doing them for a different reason, thought that they meant something different when I wrote it, and then have them come together as meaning something else later on. Because I have these alters that are working with different end goals in mind and a different perspective because of what they are creating through my art and through my writing. So yes, innately it feels spiritual. That would be the logical I guess, I don't know if I want to say logical, but the purely skeptical mindset to describe what's happening. But for me personally, these experiences have made me question the nature of reality. My alters have led me to explore the famous double slit experiment, for example, which suggests that particles exist in multiple states until they are observed, providing a compelling analogy for my own journey. Just as particles behave differently when they are observed, my dissociative states reveal layers of consciousness that defy traditional understanding. This has led me to almost like reimagine the scope of existence and what it means to truly be aware and have an awakening of consciousness, to really think about thinking, about what it means to be a being that thinks, that has thought. My book, In the Beginning There Was Us, explores themes about how conditions like DID might hold keys to understanding a 5D consciousness. It's about bridging the gap between science and spirituality, embracing the mystery of consciousness, and opening ourselves to the profound questions that shape our understanding of reality. There is an afterword at the end of my book that I recommend, if you guys do get the book, that you all read that. I know a lot of people like to skip over it, but I do think I provide a lot of insight there. I will be reading some of it here for you guys. Through my experiences, when I did get into these really deep meditative states, engaging with my alters and coming out of these trances that I would almost go into when I was writing, I began to experience episodes that were akin to seizures. I would have prolonged periods of deja vu lasting for hours to almost a whole day, changes in pulse rate. My pulse has gotten up to like 186. I experience atrial fibrillation and even fainting spells, almost like my consciousness is momentarily disconnecting. I am currently, as I'm talking about this, undergoing a bunch of testing to try to figure out what exactly is going on. We are looking into a possible epilepsy diagnosis. We haven't found anything yet, but I'm actually going to be getting at the end of this month an at-home EEG where I will be all wired up and everything for literally 3 days at home. And I just got off of a heart monitor that I was on for 2 weeks because one of the episodes with my heart did actually lead me to having to call an ambulance and go to the hospital because whatever is happening, it will cause me to pass out. My oxygen will get low. My heart rate usually gets really high and then it'll like drop. And it is paired with an episode of me having a severe dissociation episode. That's the thing. It's not just like they're happening out of nowhere. It's usually when I get this, I go into a state of like where I almost feel like I have this like download, I guess, of information from my alters, and it almost puts me into a state of shock. There's a difference between having a hypothetical talk about idealism, for example, about the universe being a mental space. This is a pretty common philosophical discussion. There's a difference between having a discussion about that and then being a system, being a person diagnosed with DID, and not just having a discussion about it, but feeling it with every core of your being. And that's almost what I feel like happens to me. It's not just a discussion. It's like when I have these episodes, it feels real. 100%. Like I'm literally experiencing it. I'm seeing it. I'm feeling it. I'm experiencing what my alters are feeling. So like imagine being an alter and waking up inside the inner world and realizing that despite the fact that everything inside of this world that you are living in feels physical, feels real, you can touch yourself. It's like when you have a dream, you can feel things, you can hear things, you can speak, you can have feelings. I mean, everything feels physical, but then realizing that none of it is, that all of it is a mental space and that you're literally living inside someone's head. It's almost like I'm literally feeling everything that my alters are feeling. And not only that, it's at like a larger scale of holy shit, is this reality even real? Because I get like this download of information where I start questioning, having these like big philosophical questions, but it's not even like I'm having a question. I think what I'm trying to say here is that it's like being given an answer that you didn't even know you had a question to, and having it bestowed upon you all at once to a point where it is so completely overwhelming that my body almost shuts down because it can't handle it. It's getting better though. Over time, it's become a little bit less and less scary. I don't really have another word other than scary. It's not scary as in like a horror movie scary. It's just overwhelming, profoundly overwhelming. It's like I'm experiencing something more profound. I don't even have words fully to explain it. I mean, I guess I do because I wrote it in the book. That's the closest I could get to explaining what I'm experiencing, the book that I wrote. But when I would come out of those episodes, it was so intense that it was almost like shock would overcome me. I would just go into like this state of shock. And it wasn't always like it wasn't necessarily fear, like it wasn't like a darkness. It was just overwhelming. It was just, how is this possible? This can't be real. Like what? Even just having an episode of deja vu where I felt like I was literally living in a moment that I have been in countless times and not understanding. And it wasn't like the typical, we all have deja vu, but it was the deja vu that left this feeling in my stomach that I can't even really put words to. It's like being on a roller coaster and you're about to go down this hill or something. Like I just had this like feeling, this eerie sensation of I've experienced this day and not being able to tell the difference between like a dream and reality almost, which I think is what my alters feel when they're in the inner world. Again, a lot of this could be explained by me experiencing what my alters are feeling. That's not something that I question. I know that. What's really mind-blowing to me is that a lot of what my alters are experiencing, what they're telling me, relates to a lot of these big philosophical questions that I hadn't really had before about the universe and about consciousness. It's led me down this whole path of like really thinking about what it means to exist as a being with consciousness and just really ask those big questions that we don't really have the answers to, but we might be getting a little bit closer. And it did lead me to having this feeling that there's a lot more to it. And it's not as simple as what I used to think. And even though when I come out of these episodes, I can feel really grounded back in reality. And I can look at it from this, I can go back and look at it from a skeptical mindset of I'm experiencing what my alters are feeling. But I will also tell you that in those moments, I have never in my life felt such clarity, knowledge, and certainty be bestowed upon me ever in my life. Even outside of those moments when I can look back and be skeptical of it, it's really hard to not also just think about the intensity of just this feeling of knowing, to the point where it sent me into a state of like just complete shock. And I'm sorry if I'm not making complete sense. It's hard to put words to, but I think I did a pretty good job in my book. Writing has been my sanctuary. It's been a space where my thoughts and feelings transcend what you see on the screen. It's a medium that allows me to express myself in ways that feel the most true to my journey. And through that, I hope to inspire you to explore the questions that resonate within you, to embrace both the empirical and the mystical aspects of your journey on this earth. Thank you for all your support and understanding and your patience and your companionship as I've transitioned into this new chapter of my life. Your presence and your engagement has meant the world to me. I'm grateful for the community that we built together when I first started a channel on YouTube. This isn't just a farewell to that Brina Rice channel. It's an invitation to continue that community and the conversations and our explorations of the world on a deeper level, where we can challenge our perceptions and embrace the wonder of a conscious existence. Throughout my personal journey, one thing has remained constant, and that's the value of connection. Connection is the thread that weaves us all together. It's what makes the exploration of these complex topics so fulfilling, knowing that we're not alone in our curiosity and quest for understanding. Again, I want to express my deepest gratitude to each of you who have walked this path with me, who have shared your stories and opened your hearts. Together, I feel that we've created a space where questions are welcomed and diverse perspectives are celebrated. And as we move forward, I hope we continue to honor that spirit, that openness, and inquiry. I'm excited about where the rest of this journey will take us, and I hope you will join me as we delve into the mysteries of consciousness, identity, and the universe. The Brina B. Rice channel will be a place for thoughtful exploration, community engagement, and personal growth. We'll dive into topics that challenge us, inspire us, and push the boundaries of what we think we know about our existence. The next chapter of my book series, which the In the Beginning There Was Us book is a part of, called Dissociated, Disorderly Divine, will be hopefully out next year in 2025. And it's actually going to be a bit of a genre shift. It is going to go into more storytelling aspect. I'm really nervous to go into. I'm nervous to write it because I know how intense writing the first book was, so I expect this next book, it will be even more intense. But it is basically the story of a specific alter inside the cosmos of my mind in the inner world, and their experience waking up to realize that they are an alter and having to come to terms with that, understanding it is their experience on the other side of the poetry and prose book that I've written, the messages that I was receiving and the messages that I was writing. It is their experience on the other side of that, as we both sort of had these mutual awakenings and understandings of who and what we are. Because I, as Brina, also view myself as being an alter in my dissociative identity disorder system. So I'm looking forward to going on that journey with you. Again, I'd love to hear your thoughts about In the Beginning There Was Us. If you have any questions that you'd like to leave me, please do on the Brina B. Rice channel in the comment section. I'd love to do a Q&A over there, maybe some readings of some certain poems and stuff like that. Give you some insights on the writing process and some just hidden insights of what was going on in the background of me writing that book, because there was a lot. But yeah, so here's to new beginnings, embracing the unknown, and to the endless possibilities that lie ahead. Thank you for being a part of this journey, for your support, and your willingness to explore the depths of what it means to be human. Until next time, stay curious, stay open, and remember that in the beginning there was us. And together we can uncover the beauty and complexity of our conscious existence.